Have you ever just stopped to think about the incredible engineering that lets you throw a ball, or paint something, or even just lift your morning coffee? Well, today we're doing just that. We're breaking down the blueprint of one of the most amazing tools you'll ever own, your arm. We're going from shoulder all the way down to your fingertips. So what is it that allows your arm to do something as forceful as lifting a heavy box, and then something as delicate as painting a tiny detail? The secret, my friends, is all in the architecture. We're not just going to look at it as a limb, but as this brilliant piece of engineering, and we're going to do it bone by bone. First up, let's get our bearings. Think of this as the "you are here" map for our entire journey down the arm, before we dive into all the nitty-gritty details. Our tour is going to take us through 4 distinct zones. We're going to start at the top, right at the shoulder, then we'll move down to the upper arm, then the forearm, and we'll finish up with the ridiculously complex hand. Each one of these regions has a totally unique job to do. Okay, let's dive into section 2, the shoulder. I want you to think of this as the all-important anchor point. It's the foundation that connects your arm to your body, and honestly, it makes every single other movement possible. Now, the official name for this foundation is the shoulder girdle. And for how important it is, it's a surprisingly simple structure. It's made of just 2 bones, the clavicle and the scapula. And they have one critical job: link the arm to the rest of you. And what's so fascinating here is how these 2 bones do completely different things. You've got the clavicle, that's your collarbone, which acts like a structural strut. It literally props your arm away from your body. Then you have the scapula, your shoulder blade, which is designed to be the perfect socket for your arm to plug right into. So let's start with the clavicle, because here's the kicker. It's the only bone that directly connects your entire arm to your torso. That's it. Go ahead and feel your collarbone for a second. That pretty slender bone is shouldering a huge amount of responsibility. And if you look closer, the clavicle isn't just some straight rod. It's got this really elegant S shape to it. One end, near your chest, is kind of triangular, and the other end, out at your shoulder, is flattened. But that beautiful curve, well, that's also its weak spot. The most common place for it to break is right where those curves meet. Now, for the scapula, its most important job for movement is providing the glenoid cavity. That's the socket for your arm. But here's the really cool part. It's incredibly shallow. And that's not a design flaw, it's a feature. This is what gives your shoulder its insane range of motion. It trades a little bit of stability for a whole lot of flexibility. All right, let's head south from the shoulder into the upper arm. This whole area is really defined by just one single really powerful bone. And here it is, the humerus. This is the big one. It's the longest and strongest bone in your entire upper limb. Just think of it as the main lever, the part of your arm that does all the heavy lifting and all the powerful movements. We can break the humerus down into 3 main parts. At the top, you've got this smooth, round head that fits perfectly into that shoulder socket we just talked about. The long middle part, the shaft, has this rough patch on it where your big deltoid muscle grabs on. And finally, the bottom end flares out to become our elbow joint. So, moving past the elbow, we get to the forearm, and this is where things get a little more complex again. Instead of one bone, we've now got 2, the radius and the ulna. They sit side by side, and they work in this really brilliant partnership that lets us twist our wrist. The ulna is really the star of the show when it comes to the elbow's hinge. It's got this unique shape that's almost like a wrench, and it grips onto the end of the humerus. This is what gives you that strong, stable, bend and straighten motion. It's kind of the anchor of the forearm. So if the ulna is the stable hinge, the radius is the master of rotation. It actually pivots around the ulna, and that's what allows you to do something as simple as turning a doorknob or flipping your hand over to look at your palm. Every time you do that, you've got your radius to thank. All right, we've made it to the final stop on our tour, the hand. And this is where the biological engineering just gets, well, truly intricate. This is what gives us the dexterity to interact with our world in such fine-tuned ways. So get this. How many bones does it take to create all that dexterity? 27. Now, just to put that into perspective for you, your entire leg, from your hip all the way down to the tip of your big toe, has 30 bones. So packing 27 of them into the tiny space of your hand and wrist is it's astonishing. To make sense of all those little bones, we can break the hand down into 3 logical parts. We've got the carpals, that's the 8 bones that make up your wrist. Then we have the 5 metacarpals, which form the palm of your hand. And finally, the 14 phalanges. And those are the bones in your fingers and your thumb. Let's just focus on the wrist for a second.
Instead of having one or two big, clunky bones, you have 8 little carpal bones. The absolute best way to picture them is like a handful of interlocking pebbles. This amazing design lets them all glide and shift just a tiny bit against each other, and that's what gives your wrist its incredible flexibility. And that brings us to our final section. We have officially traveled from the shoulder all the way to the fingertips. So now, let's zoom out and take one last look at the complete blueprint. So, if you had to write it all down, what really is the blueprint for the perfect arm? What are the key design principles here that make this whole structure so incredibly successful?
Well, the genius of the blueprint really comes down to a system of specialized parts. You need a stable anchor, that's your shoulder girdle. You have to have a powerful lever for strength, that's the humerus. You need a rotating mechanism for versatility, that's your radius and ulna. And of course, you need a precise, dexterous tool to actually interact with the world, and that's the hand.
And that is our grand tour. So the next time you see an athlete throw a perfect pitch, or you watch an artist make a delicate little brushstroke, you can really appreciate the incredible bony architecture that makes it all happen. It really leaves you wondering, what other marvels of engineering are hidden right inside of us?